Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the American Tier 9 Tech Tree medium tank, the T54E1. Now this is a tank that I do thoroughly enjoy. I've always thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's been one of my favourite Tier 9 auto-loading mediums for quite a while. But it's sort of dropped in my popularity rankings because of other tanks that have come out. Say, like, back in the day, like the Skoda T50 for auto-loading, or like the TNH VZ51, or like the new Cobra T54, which is basically this tank, but probably better, to be perfectly honest. And that's because this tank, back in the day, this tank was frustrating because it had reasonable armour, not the best, but not the worst. It's the type of armour that can ricochet shots and surprise you quite a few times when you do ricochet shots off of it, but it's not something you should truly go and rely on. But the one thing, there's two things that are pretty poor about this tank, and that was the fact that its dispersions were pretty bad when it was turning the tank and the turret and that sort of thing, so the gun bloomed out a lot. The accuracy was 0.4, which back pre 6.0 was it felt horrible. And the biggest drawback to that tank, and that's something that still goes back to it now, is the penetration of the tank. 210 on its standard AP rounds and 255 on its premium APCR. Even back in the day, that was just poor. It was just not good enough. And if you've watched my channel enough, you'll know that I basically fire normal rounds for the most part all the time, sometimes to my own detriment. This tank, as you can see, is a full loadout of APCR, and that's because 210 pen on a tier 9 is just simply not good enough. It's the one thing that I hope one day Wargaming will change. I mean, they did buff this tank a little while ago and gave it like a 33-second reload and sort of buffed some of the dispersions on, you know, the turn of the turret and tank, and that, like, say they were really bad. They changed it to make it slightly more accurate in that way. And then 6.0 in itself also made this tank really accurate, because, you know, vert stabs became 20% more accurate, the crew skills, all that sort of stuff just made this tank's gun handling so much better. And it is a really good tank. It's just kind of like, I hope that one day we get more changes that are, you know, kind of like PCs, where, you know, they made it a heavy tank, but nerfed it in some ways, but also gave it like 236 penetration, 240 penetration on its standard rounds, with way more APCR or premium round penetration, whatever it was. Just enough to give it more penetration, because I mean, if you take the Cobra T54 that's just been released at 240 pen, 240 pen's quite low, but at the same time, quite low for a tier 9 anyway, but at the same time, it's usable, and you can use that 240 pen to pen most things you're going to face. You're going to ricochet off some tanks, but for the most part you can use it really, really easily. And then you got 275 premium pen. This tank does suffer from that 210 pen. The 210 is just shocking on a standard round, and if you play this tank, yeah, you're probably going to be feeling the after effects. And like I say, back in the day, pre 6.0, when the accuracy on this tank was poor, mixed with the 210 pen, you had to really hit the weak spots to even guarantee. I mean, sometimes even hitting the weak spots you didn't even pen. Yeah, you had to really guarantee that you were going to hit them. And unfortunately, yeah, with the accuracy it was poor, so you just loaded full pro, and that's how you made this tank feel quite nice. But I still love the tank. I still always have done. I just hope one day they'll buff the penetration. So in this game, so far on Himmelsdorf, we've just made a mistake, and that is we got a shot into their guys down the G line, but we didn't pay attention to the map, and unfortunately we are dead, because their heavy tanks and TDs came through their base and came up behind us and finished us off. But we did finish with a victory, 3 kills, 5.8k damage, 581 assistance, the ace tanker, the sniper, and the high caliber, with 1707 base XP. A really nice game for the T54E1 in, like, I think we did that in about 3.5 minutes. It's one of those that it's a shame that we got shut down like that in our prime, because that probably could have been quite a high damage game there. But it is what it is. In terms of a crew on this T54E1, well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanic, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, and Off-Road Driving. All the gun perks to make this tank just generally more accurate, because like I say, the gun is, with 0.4 accuracy, not great. So you need to give it all you can to make this gun as good as possible. And then off-road driving to help me get to that 43 km/h top speed, because we want to be able to use that speed. I mean, in terms of equipment, I run the optics to make sure my view ranges as high as possible, vert stabs to make sure that this gun handling is, again, as good as possible, because, yeah, you need to give it 20% more accuracy. It really is that simple. The gun handling just isn't good enough to not run it. And it's a mix-up, because I have ran traction system in the past, because that will get me to 47 kilometers an hour, and using off-road driving especially will help you get to that top speed. But I've also started running vents just to make everything better, like the aim time, accuracy, view range, all that sort of stuff. All the vents, just to make it a little bit nicer. But it's down to you. It's down to how you want to play the tank. It's, yeah, completely down to your playstyle, really. So we're on the second game, and we're on Prokhorovka. And so far, we're up to, well, if we get this shot in, yep, we penned it, 2.7k damage in less than 2 minutes. So far, we're up to 2.7k damage and 1,400 assistance. So far, 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes gone. We're on for a good one so far. And, yeah, this is, especially in this matchmaking where we're pretty much all against tier 10s, 210 pen. That's the other thing as well with the ammo capacity. If we'd had 3-4 clips of AP, we probably would have struggled to... I mean, even shooting that E75, right? That E75's low plate, no chance of penning it with 210. Nope, no chance. Even against this M103, you can see we've got an orange pen marker with the 255 pen APCR. Again, with the AP, we probably would have struggled to pen that guy as well. So this is why I just don't bother. Just don't bother with the AP round. It's so lackluster that there's just no point carrying it. And you don't have the ammo capacity for it to just to hold it, generally. Because you're going to need these APCR rounds more often than not. So you may as well just load full gold. That's my tip to you playing this tank. This tank goes from being a pain to play to actually pretty damn good with this autoloader if you just load the premium rounds, because they are just so much nicer. Now we get 2 shots into that Conway. We managed to get one in blind. We're up to 4.6k damage so far. And we're luckily just about avoiding the fun police. The fun police are after... Okay, there's the fun police. Okay, we jinxed it, alright? We just went and jinxed that. The fun police said, "Hi, did you forget about me? You were talking about me, weren't you? No, don't forget about me. I'm looking at you now, Sonny Boy Jim Bob." And he slapped us. Yeah, so far the fun police hadn't hit us up to this point, and they were aiming for our medium tank friend. I don't know which one it was. They're aiming for our medium tank friend. Like I say, we're thankfully only just got hit by them. But they didn't hit us for much, so we'll take it. This Conway gets spotted out in the open. It's like, well, Mr. Conway, goodbye. We get 2 shots into him. We've got 2 shots in our clip. It's like, well, okay, goodbye, Mr. TNH Visa 51. We've got 1 shot left. I could go for the CS63, but I'm still concerned about tanks that we know are probably back at JK2. And if we stayed there for too long, naturally we're going to get slapped. While we're reloading, we're just moving about, so that it would give the impression that we're not sitting in the same spot, so that, like I say, the fun police don't come after us. And now we're nearly reloaded. We've got some nice side shots into this mouse. We get 1 shot into his side. Now the guys back there are starting to get spotted. And it's like, okay, now is the time to be aggressive. We come over, miss that shot in the CS63. Really sad. But we do get the 2 final shots into him. Derpy gun handling coming into play a little bit there. We're up to 6.9k damage with 1,500 assistance. So far, a great game for a tier 9. And there's still tanks left. There's still tanks left, and we're just waiting for this clip to go in so we can rush ahead and get more shots. There's a TD spotted at K7, K8, and I want to get there to get some shots into it. This tank is really great for that damage output. Like I say, the only downside to it, well, the really big, strong downside to it is the penetration. And really, it's what makes the Cobra T54, the new tank that's come out, really strong, because it has the same sort of... You don't really twiddle your thumbs too much with the reload. The shells get in, you dump the clip really quickly, but you have the penetration, and you actually have better mobility as well, with armour that's probably worse than this tank, to be honest, but it is what it is. This tank is just the tech tree sort of niceness of it, and hopefully one day they'll buff the penetration. I hope, I pray still for it. And we finished that game with the victory. The 2 kills, 7.7k damage, 1,666 assistance, 66 number of the beast, ace tanker, high caliber, the sniper medal, and 2,000 base XP. Top 3 as well for the platoon in a very tier 10 game on Prokhorovka. Thankfully, the fun police weren't shooting us there, because otherwise it could have ended quite badly. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.